Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we're doing an easy salon friendly autumn nail art design. So I really hope you all enjoy watching. I'm really loving doing all the autumn designs and getting to share some of the autumn colours with you. So let me know in the comments below if you have any autumnal nail art requests. So starting off, we are working on display tips, and on this particular nail, I'm going to come in with Tea Rose for my base. I love Tea Rose. It's such a gorgeous all-round, perfect for any season nude. So it's definitely a must-have in your collection, and it's really opaque as well. So I'm going to do 2 thin coats, curing each coat for 30 seconds, and as you can see, it gives us a gorgeous nude base. Then on top of this now, we're going to be doing a pumpkin design. So I'm going to take the gorgeous pumpkin spice. Now this is a lovely autumnal orange. It's a little bit darker than say a classic pumpkin orange, but I really like that for this kind of design. And then for all of my nail art, I am going to be using the Kiki London Stripe Liner Brush. This brush is a must-have for any kind of hand painted nail art. So on to our pumpkin, we're doing it on the very tip of the nail. So I'm just coming across and doing 2 curved lines that meet in the middle. And I'm thickening them up a little bit with the Stripe Liner Brush, but then I am going to come in and paint on the tip of the nail with the bottle brush. If you don't feel confident doing this, or if you are working on shorter nails, you can do the whole part with the Stripe Liner Brush, or you could also use your round nail art brush as well. Then we're going to pop that in to cure for 30 seconds. And for the details on our pumpkin, I'm going to take some of the Kiki London Black Heart and pop that down on my palette. So now we have the pumpkin spice cured. I'm loading up my brush with the Black Heart gel polish. This is the Kiki London's Blackest Black gel polish. And I don't want to load up with too much because I want to create nice thin lines. So you do see I'm kind of loading up my brush with a little bit and then wiping off a lot of that excess, just because I don't want my lines to be too thick. Then if I don't have enough gel polish down to create the line as strong as what I need it, I can do what I'm doing here and just coming over and basically broadening up the line and making sure that then there's enough gel polish down. And this way you keep those nice thin crisp lines as well. So as you can see, I just swept across basically the 2 lines that we did with the pumpkin spice when we first placed that down, following the curve that they had. And then I've just popped on 2 more lines to add a little bit more definition. Then I did flash cure those for 10 seconds. If you have the Kiki London 96 watt LED lamp, it does have a 10-second flash cure function, which is brilliant for freezing any of your hand painted nail art in place so that you don't smudge it when you move on to the next part. And then for the next part, we're just drawing on a really simple stalk to finish off that pumpkin design. I love these nail art designs because you can do this pumpkin in any color and it still looks really cute. I went for a classic pumpkin or orangey color, but I think last year I did a couple in different autumn colors like blues and reds, and they look really cute. Moving on to the next now, I have already done my 2 coats of Tea Rose. So we have our base down, and then onto my palette I'm going to pop some of the gorgeous Brick Lane. Brick Lane is one of my favorite colors for autumn. It's a really beautiful, kind of like a purpley pinky red. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Brick Lane suits it perfectly. It's kind of like a brick red color. Then I'm also going to add on some ivory. On this now, we are going to be drawing on a couple of leaves. So what I decided to do was, before coming in and doing my hand painting, I am going to pop down a layer of the matte top coat. Now this just really helps your hand painting, I personally find anyway. Working on a matte surface stops your gel polish bleeding, so you can get crisper lines. And I also do find as well, if you are doing any kind of video in, having a matte surface to work on really helps because it takes away some of the glare from the tacky layer of your gel polish. So that's why I pop down my matte top coat, but it is personal preference. You can skip that step and jump straight in to your hand painted nail art if you wished. Like I said though, on this now we are going to be drawing on a couple of leaves. So I'm doing these in the colour and then we're going to outline them in black. So I'm drawing on a very basic leaf shape, first of all in the ivory and then in the Brick Lane. Now originally I was only going to do the 2 leaves on this nail, but we do end up coming in and doing a 3rd one with the pumpkin spice, and I'm really glad I did because it really helped the colours flow across the design. But first of all, I'm just, like I said, creating a really basic leaf shape using my stripe liner brush to create the outlines and then colouring it in. If you do make any mistakes, I like to clean them up using the Kiki London angled nail art brush with a little bit of alcohol on there. Because the angled nail art brush is quite firm, it's great for cleaning up. Then over the edges of this, or sorry, around the edges of this, I'm going to come in with the black heart, but I'm using it quite thin. I'm not wanting to create a too bold line, so I'm using it quite thin and just simply going around the edge of that leaf shape that we've created, and then just doing a little simple line in the center. I wanted this to look quite simple, and I wanted it to be quite salon friendly as well, as I know a lot of the Kiki users are nail techs that are working in salons, and I do understand that when you're working in a salon, a lot of the time you're back to back with clients and you're pushed for time, so these kind of designs are a lot more quick and easier, so I hope you enjoy watching them. Again, just cleaning up with my angled nail art brush if I make any mistakes, and here I'm using a really small amount of gel polish on my brush because I don't want to create any thick lines, and I'm also not applying too much pressure with my brush as well, because the more pressure you apply, the thicker your line is going to be, so I'm working with a really gentle touch. So here is where I decided I wanted to come in and add a third leaf using that pumpkin spice. So I'm placing this one down more in the center of the nail, exactly the same as before, coming around and then coloring in. Then I'm going to cure the pumpkin spice. You could just flash cure here if you didn't want to do a full 30-second cure, and then you could do your full 30-second cure after you've added your black. I opted to do the 30-second cure just because I had kind of got out of the flow. Realistically, if I knew I was doing 3 colours of the leaves, I would have done all 3 colours first and it would have flowed and been a little bit quicker, but I added this one in last minute. And I'm glad I did, because I just felt as though having that orange on there, like I said, really helped the design flow. To finish off this design, I'm going to take my Kiki London dotting tool and I'm going to add some dots using all 3 of those colours, just to add a little something extra to the nail. I really liked how this nail turned out because it kind of reminded me of leaves blowing in the wind, the way they're just positioned on the nail. So I'm taking the pumpkin spice, the brick lane and ivory, and just dotting on some simple dots just to fill out that design a little bit, and then I'm going to pop that into cure, and that's the second one in our design finished. Now the last 2 nails in this design are going to be ombres. So first of all, we're coming in with Tea Rose and Brick Lane, and I'm going to place that Tea Rose down, take it roughly 3/4 of the way down the nail, and then as you can see, I'm taking my Brick Lane and I'm really pushing it up so it hits up against the Tea Rose so that there's no gap between where the 2 colours are. Then we're going to take the ombre brush, and I always start off by blending out that harsh line where the 2 colours meet. So as you can see, I'm blending those 2 colours together, and these 2 colours are blended together absolutely beautifully. I was worrying that Brick Lane, where it's quite highly pigmented and it's a darker colour, it was going to be trickier to ombre, but it ombreed effortlessly. So when you see my brush go out of shot there, I did just clean that off, sorry. And that's because I want to go in to the Tea Rose and bring that down into that transitional shade. So I want to make sure I've got a nice clean brush to do this. And then I'm just checking over and blending out any areas that look a little bit harsh still. And then I will leave that to sit for a few seconds before popping it into cure, because this helps pull your blend together and it also helps minimize your brush strokes. Now don't worry about getting your first coat of your ombre perfect, because you can perfect it on your second coat. So onto the second coat, again, we're taking the Tea Rose roughly halfway to 3/4 of the way down the nail, and then filling in with the Brick Lane, making sure that the 2 colours meet. Now when you make sure your 2 colours meet, you do want to check that you haven't got any of the previous colour you've used on your next colours bottle brush. So here I just checked that Brick Lane brush to make sure I had no Tea Rose on the bottle brush before I put it back in, because you don't want to contaminate your colours and mix them together. If you do find you have picked up a little bit of that previous gel polish colour, just give your bottle brush a wipe on one of the Kiki London alcohol pads before popping it back into your bottle. And then we done that second coat of ombre exactly the same as we did the first coat, and again I just leave that to sit for a few seconds before curing, and this is what the finished result looked like. I am going to pop that aside for a minute. We're going to come back to add on a little bit more nail art onto that further along, but onto the next nail I'm doing another ombre, but this time with the Tea Rose and the pumpkin spice, and again these 2 colours blended together absolutely beautifully. and I'm going to apply them exactly the same as before. So once we've got our two colours down, we're going to take that ombre brush. Now it looks as though I'm being quite vigorous, but the video is sped up. I'm basically gently blending the two colours together, and when doing this, you create a third colour. So you're creating a transitional colour between the tea rose and the pumpkin spice. Then I clean off my brush, and then I'm going to blend the tea rose into that transitional colour, and then I'll clean off my brush again and blend that transitional colour into the pumpkin spice. And this basically creates such a soft and easy, effortless ombre. Popping it down to sit for a few seconds, that's going to allow the gel polish to self-level because you have moved it around quite a lot, and then that minimises your brush strokes. Onto the second coat again, take your tea rose. Don't worry that it's coming over and you're covering up that ombre you created, because you're going to create it again with the second coat. Once we've got those two colours of gel polish down, you're going to start blending again. And I always find the second coat is a lot easier to blend because obviously you've already got pigmentation and opacity underneath, so it just makes the blend a whole lot easier. So don't spend too long on your first coat faffing around trying to get a perfect blend, because you cover that up and perfect your blend on the second coat anyway. And also don't stress too much about the brush strokes. Leave it, even if it's up to a minute, 30 seconds maximum is usually enough to minimize out any of your brush strokes. But even still, don't judge your ombre until you've come in and top coated, because top coating seems to make a hell of a lot of difference over an ombre nail. Sometimes they just don't look 100% perfect, but then once you've top coated, it softens everything, blurs any harshness or any brush strokes, and you're good to go. Now before we finish up these two nails, like I said, I had a little bit more nail art I wanted to do. So I'm going to take my Kiki London foil gel and I'm going to apply this to both of those nails. I'm covering the entire nail with foil gel, but we are only going to be using a small amount of foil. But just so we've got a nice even and smooth surface, I like to apply the foil gel to the entire nail. Then I'm going to take my foils, and I went for the coloured metallics ones here, and I want this gorgeous bronzy orange colour because it's going to work across the design that we've got going on. And then I'm just tapping that down in the centre of the nail. This is basically going to be a second layer to our nail art design, and we're going to do some stamping on the top of this. So I'm just very lightly tapping it down just to get kind of a little bit of a background, something else going on in the design that's super simple before we come in and add our stamping. So here I was looking at the two nails and I noticed the nail with the Brick Lane didn't have as much foil on it as the previous one with the pumpkin spice. So I'm just coming on and very gently tapping on a little bit more foil. Then we're going to move on to our stamping. So I just want to add some autumnal leaves to these two nails. So I've applied my stamping polish, scraped across, and it's picked up 3 leaves. So I decided I would use 2 of these. I was only originally going to apply 1, but seeing as we'd picked up all 3 nice and easily, I thought I would apply 2 of those. So I'm just pressing those down. I will talk you through the stamping steps on the next one, but it is very, very simple. And I do love how stamping works with gel polish. So I'm giving my stamping plate a good clean with some acetone. Then I'm going to take my stamping polish, and you want to apply a generous amount, making sure you're covering your image. I'm going to do a quick scrape and a quick flick of the wrist and a roll with my stamper. And then as you can see, we've picked up those same leaves that we picked up previously easily. And then I just very gently tap and wiggle my stamper down. And I do find stamping over your tacky layer of your gel polish makes stamping a lot easier as well. So I definitely prefer stamping over gel polish compared to any other nail medium. This is what our finished design looks like. As like I said, it was super easy, it was super salon friendly, but I think they looked really, really cute. So let me know what you think of this design in the comments below. Of course, we do need to finish off with some top coat, and today I opted to use the Kiki London No Wipe top coat. The shine on this top coat is absolutely incredible. If you watch the channel regular, you will know that I reach for my No Wipe top coat probably the most, because I do find it the most versatile top coat, and I love that because it's a little bit thicker, it gives you a little bit of extra strength and it smooths out any unevenness you've got on your nail from your nail art. But the No Wipe top coat it's just such an elite level when it comes to shine. So I opted to use this one today. It does have a thinner consistency to the No Wipe rubber top coat, but it is absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to apply a thin layer of this over all of the nails, and then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to pop it in to cure for 30 seconds, and then I have left you guys a little clip of what the finished result looked like. So like I said at the start of the video, if you do have any autumn or any kind of nail art suggestions that you'd like to see, please do pop them in the comments below. All of the products I have used today are linked in the description box below, as well as some recommended videos. So do check out the description box for any info. If you have any questions, pop them in the comment box and I will be happy to help. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment below and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And then I shall see you all again in the next video. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Take care. Lots of love. Bye bye.